A very good afternoon to one and all present here. Our respected Dean, School of Postgraduate Studies, TNA, Coimbatore, and the external examiner, Dr. K. Swami Reddy, Director, ICAR National Institute of Abiotic Stress Management, Baramati, Pune, Maharashtra, faculty and student friends. And I'm very happy to welcome one and all here for this session on the guest lecture to be delivered by our Dr. K. Swami Reddy, which is on conservation agriculture in Dryland agro ecosystem, the prospects and opportunities. So I once again welcome one and all for this particular session. As our Director NRM, Dr. P. Balasubramaniam, is on abroad visit, on behalf of him, I feel privileged to introduce the external examiner, especially for the information of the Dean, School of Postgraduate Studies. The external examiner is Dr. K. Swami Reddy. He is presently Director, National Institute of Abiotic Stress Management, Baramati, Pune. And previously, he was Head, Division of Resource Management, Kreda, Hyderabad. And he served for quite a long time as Principal Scientist in Indian Institute of Soil Science, Bhopal, wherein we had the privilege of having a very good association with Dr. K. Swami Reddy, especially in the STCR project, wherein he served as the in-charge project coordinator. And his area of specialization is soil health and quality, carbon pool dynamics and carbon sequestration in soil, soil testing and fertilizer and manure recommendations to different crops, and efficient nutrient management in different production systems. So he has to his credit about 160 papers in the refereed journals and 26 papers in international journals, and he has written 11 books and edited 15 reports, 5 book chapters and 16 conference and seminar proceedings, 5 research bulletins and 7 review papers and 35 summaries or abstracts in the proceedings. And more than that, he has been bestowed with 12 major awards at national levels. And he is fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, New Delhi. And he has received the ICAR Hariom Ashram Trust Award during 2008 to 9, and the Indian Society of Soil Science 12th International Congress Commemoration Award and Golden Jubilee Commemoration Young Scientist Award. And he also received the Associate Fellow of NAS and served for the period of 5 years from 2006 to 10. And apart from that, he has been bestowed with 5 major awards of Fertilizer Association of India. One is for the Award for Excellence in the field of fertilizer best management practice. Another one for the work on plant nutrient sulfur. And then third one for 1997 by PPIC FAI on management and balanced use of inputs in achieving maximum yield. Then in 2003, again, he got role of phosphorus on yield and quality of crops, the Infos FAA award. And then twice he got the Moraji Memorial Award for the best paper published in Indian Journal of Fertilizers, that is being published by Fertilizer Association of India. And again, he has received a best poster presentation award by Indian Society of Soil Science. And he has visited Australia, Kenya, and Philippines. So with this background, I once again welcome the speaker for this session, Dr. K. Swami Reddy, and our Dean SPGS and the faculty and student friends. Thank you. Now over to Dr. N. Sendil, Dean, School of Postgraduate Studies, DNA, Coimbatore, to deliver the special address for this session. Thank you.
Good morning, madam. Good morning, sir. I'm really happy that today we have a great speaker, Dr. Swami Reddy from the ICAR National Institute for Abiotic Stress Management, Baramati. Because now Baramati is getting more importance because our DG Saab is from the Baramati. So really, we have really fortunate, sir, to have you here regarding the for talk on the dryland agro ecosystem. So Tamil Nadu Agriculture University also working on the dryland system with many crops, and Tamil Nadu government also is very keen on developing the dryland ecosystem. That means we want to bring about the current fallow and other drought, the fallow areas under the cultivations. In this context, definitely, sir, your talks as a soil scientist, your talk will be very important for our students. Because the thing with the one special institute, the institute which works on the abiotic stress management, which have very unique and national importance. That too, the director from that center is talking. Our student is really fortunate us, and also Tamil Nadu Agriculture University on behalf of our Vice Chancellor. Really, I thank for accepting our invitations and come and also ready to present our guest lecture, sir. So another thing, nowadays ICR also is keen in promoting the hybrid learning and also the blended learning ecosystem, where speakers from anywhere in India, they try to interact with the students in other parts of India and try to support other state agriculture universities. And really it is a fortunate, sir, to have you here. So another thing, the online learning system nowadays a part of our learning from our students, because we get their lectures from online, delivered online, and also it been archived, and the students also getting benefited from the leading speakers. This way, Tamil Nadu Agriculture University is regularly organizing these kind of guest lectures from the eminent speakers of national importance. So I think your thought-provoking lectures which cover on the different dryland agro ecosystems and also the various prospects and the opportunities really help our students to learn on this kind of typical ecosystems. So in that, I am really happy, sir. I am inviting for this special seminar, and also on behalf of Tamil Nadu Agriculture University and Dean Postgraduate Studies, I welcome you for this special lecture, and also I am eager to watch your lecture on these special topics. Thank you for giving me the opportunity for the Department of Soil Science and Agriculture Chemistry and the Director NRM. Thank you, sir.
Okay, good afternoon to all of you. Respected Dr. Senthil, PG Dean, Santi Madam. Of course, she is the Director NRM today and the Head of the Soil Science Agriculture Chemistry, Dr. Kaleshwari, and other faculty members. And all of you know, actually, this. First of all, I am thankful to all of you for this giving this opportunity. But I have selected the topic which actually dryland agriculture, that ecosystem, and on conservation agriculture, because one of the dryland agriculture, our Acribda center is also there at Kovilpatti, Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, with the black soils. So this topic is also equally relevant to the Tamil Nadu and of course other dryland areas. All of you know, particularly students are there. The dryland areas generally areas which comes under the 3 zones. That is the arid zone, semi-arid zone, and dry sub-humid zone, and which are having this aridity index less than 0.65. Arid, semi-arid, dry sub-humid, which are having the aridity index less than 0.65. And this, if we go to the moisture index, that is the less than minus 66.7. And according to the desert development program, India, we are having 22 districts, particularly in Rajasthan and some parts of the Kutch. And a drought-prone area program, we are having around 121 districts. Total 143 districts are there under dryland agriculture. That includes both the desert development program as well as the drought-prone districts. Next slide. This the characteristic of the dryland areas. You know, the rainfall is up to 1000 mm or the 1100 mm maximum, and the growing season is 1 to 179 days only. And most of the time, actually, crop suffers from the moisture deficit conditions. And dryland agriculture is part of the rain-fed agriculture. Actually, dryland agriculture and rain-fed agriculture means rain-fed agriculture, the agriculture which depends completely on rains. without assured rainfall irrigation facilities. But even that what we call rainfall goes up to even 2000 2500 also, because in Assam also that areas are there, northeastern India, where this high rainfall areas are, they are also comes under the rain-fed agriculture. And dryland agriculture typically up to 1100 mm, which are already told. The areas comes under three zones: arid zone, semi-arid zone, and dry subhumid zone. So this is the dryland agriculture and the rain-fed agriculture difference. Essentially, rain-fed agriculture consists both dryland agriculture as its part, as well as the arid ecosystem, which are having the less than our 500 mm rainfall also. That is the difference. Next. This is the rain-fed area. All of you know today also, out of 140 million hectares net zone area, nearly 73 million hectares is under rain-fed conditions, which consists of nearly 52% of our total cultivable area. And if you go to the crop, almost all coarse cereals, they grown under the rain-fed conditions. 90% of the pulses, 80% of the oil seeds, and 60% of the cotton. Even nearly 50 and 51% of the rice is also cultivated under rain-fed conditions. And that is the important. And problems, all of you know, this moisture is the major problem. And this rain-fed areas almost contribute 40 to 44% of the food grain production. Nearly 66% of our livestock also housed in rain-fed areas. And another important problem along with these droughts, dry spells, aside that, most of the farmers, 84-85% of the farmers of the rain-fed areas are small and marginal farmers, which are having less than 2 hectare land. 1 to less than 1 and 1 to 2 less than 2 hectare land. And yield gap, all of you know, there is a yield gap of, if we compare the farmers' yields in rain-fed areas, average yields, and the experimental average yields, nearly 0.75 to 1 ton difference is there still today. And dry spells, prolonged dry spells, because of the climate change and variability, the dry spells is a problem. Soil health, similar to our irrigated areas, generally all nutrient deficiencies, whatever we have observed in irrigated areas, they are also deficient in rain-fed areas. And small farm mechanization, because moisture management is very important. For that, farm implements plays very, very important role for the timely sowing and utilization of the soil moisture. And of course, all these problems compounded by the climate change and variability, which is a major problem. No need to tell. All of you know this. Next slide, please. Next slide. Conservation agriculture, all of you know, actually, there no need to what we call a definition. I am not going to details. Particularly students, they know a concept for resource saving agriculture crop production that strives to achieve acceptable profits together with the high-end sustained production levels, while concurrently conserving the environment. Environment means actually our agro ecosystem. If it dryland agriculture means the dryland agro ecosystems, along with the surroundings, that is the water as well as the soil, even our atmospheric pressure, like atmospheric pollution, like that. We have to achieve our high food grain production, but at the same time we have to protect our all resources. And conservation emerged as the alternative strategy for the conserving the natural resources. Next slide. Actually, if slides are there, there are the three principles are there. In the principles of three, one is the, all of you know, that is the minimum tillage or the no tillage. That is the, as far as possible, the tillage option should be minimum or reduced or zero. The second is that in conservation agriculture, crops always should be covered. Crop cover should be there. At least as per international standard, they are telling the soil surface, at least 30% of soil surface should be covered. So crop cover, that is important, that retention of the residues. The third is that crop rotation. We should not go for the continuous cropping of one crop, monocropping. There should be a crop rotation. These are the no. These are all of you know. Next. But important thing is that in addition to these three principles, actually fourth principle is very, very important under dryland agriculture or the rain-fed agriculture for success of this reduced or the minimum or zero tillage in our dryland conditions. Where that actually this particularly I am not going to this control topic or the other thing, but internationally these 4 or 5 are also they are mentioning as the fourth principle. But in our case, actually in dryland agriculture, this along with these three principles, whatever I told, the soil moisture conservation practice, that plays very, very important role, which we consider as the fourth principle. Of course, nutrient management, weed management, other things are important. That is a part of our conservation agriculture system, even in irrigated also, even under rain-fed agriculture also. But rain-fed agriculture, along with all these three components of the conservation agriculture, moisture conservation very, very important role. That I will show some of the results for this also, where fourth principles of conservation agriculture very, very important under dryland agriculture. This I am all of you know. These already I told. Next, the potential benefits, all of you know. These are some of the, if with the literature, that are the benefits due to the conservation agriculture as compared to our conventional. That is a sustained higher crop productivity, enhancement of the soil quality, of course carbon sequestration in soils as well as the overall in the system, and reduced greenhouse gas emissions, and enhancing nutrient use efficiency and availability, water use efficiency, water holding capacity of the soils, and all of these these are the some of the potential benefits already proved actually under irrigated conditions. We will also see a lot of work is going on under dryland agriculture also, but dryland agriculture, some of the constraints are there, as I told that I will discuss while presenting other slides. Next, please. This see a lot of things we are discussing, but still in India it is the 1.5 million hectare only. Some literature is available, they are telling up to claiming up to 3 million hectares, but this one I took from the FAO 2012. Recently also one manual is published from the IRI agronomy division. In that also they have given up to maximum of 3 million hectares. That too out of maximum out of 3 million hectares, 90% of the area is in Indo-Gangetic plains actually. It is very, very less in other parts of the country in India. Please, next. Next, prospects actually just I have divided this presentation into three. One is the Indo-Gangetic plains, next is the black soils, and next is the red soils. Because if we cover these three, we can cover almost the entire area where this dryland ecosystem is there, and where conservation agriculture experiments are there, we can cover. That is why I have selected actually experiments conducted in these three types of the soils. First, of course, Indo-Gangetic plains, all of you know, lot of work has been done there, and with a good success is there, particularly under irrigated conditions. Even under rain-fed conditions also, some of the experiments have been conducted there, there. For example, only one or two slides I am showing here because a lot of work, it is not possible to cover entire thing in Indo-Gangetic plains. A lot of literature is available. Only thing is, if we see this rice wheat green gram system, this zero tillage with transplanted rice with zero tillage wheat and zero tillage gram. Because in the rice wheat gram sequence, you know this zero tillage in case of the wheat that produces the higher rice yield, wheat yield, as well as the green gram. And as compared to even we see the rice equivalent, so it is what is significantly similar to the other things. But as compared to control, that conventional tillage of the wheat, that is, it has produced the significantly higher yield. Next. Under this treatment, actually soil organic carbon stock up to 30 centimeter depth, it is also higher. Next slide, please. If come to the actually next slide, carbon buildup also similar, that it is there. And if you come to the black soil region of the Maharashtra and other soils, next. Actually, here under dryland agriculture, this one project is being conducted at PDKV Akola on black soils. Here, what the third principle actually I wanted to highlight. Here we are having it is a cropping sequence. You can see that is a soybean chickpea, along with our conventional tillage, reduced tillage. Here T3, if you actually just you concentrate on the T3 into the soybean, the reduced tillage is there. Broadbed furrow, this in situ soil moisture conservation practice is there, and pre and post emergence herbicide plus crop residue mulch. Means tillage is reduced tillage is there, crop residue mulch is there, and BBF as a conservation soil moisture conservation practice that is there. In case of the chickpea also, T3 reduced tillage, pre-sowing harrowing, broadbed furrow plus herbicide and crop residue mulch is there. Why I am highlighting is that Actually, this broadbed furrow as the fourth principle under dryland agriculture in black soils actually plays very, very important role along with our reduced tillage and crop residue mulch. Next. Next, please. If you see the T3, which I have described, that has produced a higher soybean yield as compared to other treatments, higher straw yield, so soybean straw yield, and grain yield of chickpea and straw yield of chickpea. This is the actually advantage of this thesis. But only thing is, if we compare to the T2 or the T that where BBF is not there, it is actually lower yields. So under black soils, actually for the success of reduced tillage, we need that fourth principle. Because why reason is that actually the amount of the crop residue produced in dryland agriculture or the rain-fed crops is very, very less. I will show also for that in subsequent slides. So at least here already we get 2 to 3 tons of the crop residue for retention. But if we go to the irrigated agriculture, rice or wheat, there we are getting 7 to 8 tons of the crop residue. But here, because of the less residue production, because of the moisture constraint, we are not able to cover the entire area. Even 30% also sometimes it is very, very difficult, because in case of the cereal crops, it may go up to 2 to 3 tons on average. But if we see the leguminous crops, it's very, very less only. If we cowpea or the soybean chickpea crop, chickpea is there, in that hardly we will get nearly 1 ton of the crop residue to retain on the soil surface. So that the amount of the residue produced is insufficient because of the moisture constraint under rain-fed agriculture. For that, to have the good production of the crop as well as the residue, we have to go for the soil moisture conservation practice along with the other practices. That is the important. That's the actually I wanted to highlight. Next, please. This is also, you can see the even soil moisture availability under T3 at different depths is a similar result. Next. This rainwater efficiency also, it is higher, because that is expressed as the kg hectare meter, kg of the grain yield produced per the hectare meter rainfall received. That is also higher in T3 as compared to the other treatments. Next. Next, if we come to the red soil region, next. And many experiments are being conducted at Krida, Hyderabad, at our both what we call this Hayat Nagar Research Forum at Krida, as well as at this Gunegal Research Forum. I am not presenting actually the year, but completely different experiments are there at Niyasam Baramati. So I am still presenting the work done at Krida only in my division. If we see all these 4-5 cropping conservation experiments are there in red soil, covering all the major cropping systems of Telangana. That is the castor sorghum, sorghum black gram, sorghum cowpea, or pigeonpea castor. Next slide. Pigeonpea castor, as well as maize pigeonpea, maize pigeonpea, and maize arsdam. Almost all major cropping sequences which are common in the Telangana in rain-fed areas and red soils. In this, only one thing what we have observed is that zero tillage, actually completely zero tillage may or may not be possible in our case, because even after 15 years of experimentation also, we have got the lower yields as compared to the conventional tillage with crop residue retention. If we compare zero tillage with the crop residue retention, with the conventional tillage with the crop residue retention, under these treatments, the yield level is significantly lower even after 15 years of experimentation, because one of our experiment under sorghum castor that was started in 1995. So we are almost having now 17 years we have completed. Even that 15 years, after 15 years also we are lower yields. But in case of the reduced tillage with the residue retention, or the minimum tillage with the residue retention, actually we have got better yields even after 6 year, 4th or 5th year onwards. That is important. Why? Because actually in red soils, wherever that zero tillage is there, even after retention of the residues also, still the percolation of the rainwater into the soil is actually a problem. That is still we are facing the problem in that. But if we in reduced tillage or the minimum tillage, if we open a small slit type of thing, that promotes the actual infiltration of the rainwater into the soil. So that is why we have observed the soil moisture content to the deeper layers under these treatments, as well as we have got better yields with reduced tillage, crop residue retention, or minimum tillage with the residue retention. Generally, in all of you know that in case of the conventional tillage, we have got 4 tillage practices in these cropping systems. And reduced tillage means that is the two tillage operations, and minimum tillage with the minimum tillage only one tillage operation, that with the slit opening for planting along with the hand weeding. So that is the difference in all these treatments. Just I am describing the tillage level. Next slide, please. Next slide. These are actually in CREDA. Actually, we are giving along with the all package that I have kept that slide at the end. We are addressing in under conservation agriculture means all the components. That is the farm machinery first, second is the residue retention and fertilizer management, as well as the weed management. All we are doing together. So that is why actually I will show that we have developed our zero-till planter with the herbicide applicator also, that which we have shown the earlier slide. That photograph is there. I don't want to go back. If you see one after another, particularly if the Pigeonpea castor system is there, you can see all this year wise it is given. And that what we call in some of the years 2015, 16 and 16, 17, zero tillage, most of the years actually zero tillage that produce the lesser yields as compared to the our reduced conventional tillage. But next slide. But this RT that I produce a higher yield as well as the agronomic efficiency. Next. These are the next slide, and that is also same result which I am showing. Next. These are some of the photographs. Next. In this actually one under maize, this particular system, maize horse gram system, because of this reduced tillage with the balance of fertilization and the retention of the residues, we could take one more crop on the residual moisture, that is the horse gram. This otherwise most of the times in red soil area in Telangana we are ending up with only one season crop, that is the maize in the kharif crop, maize or any maize crop. But because of this reduced tillage and retention of the residues, that moisture content actually conserved. That because of that residual moisture, we are able to take one more short duration horse gram crop immediately, which was shown even before the harvest of the maize crop also. Actually, that is the advantage. That as compared to conventional tillage, we could produce get almost how much, that 4 to 5 quintals of the horse gram as the extra yield, as along with the maize yield. This is the one of the advantage what we have observed because of the reduced tillage and crop residue retention, as otherwise called as the conservation agriculture in maize horse gram system. This is the extra benefit. Okay, next slide. Under sorghum cowpea sequence also already I told that you go next slide. Next slide, please. In this also, if we see back. Okay, anyhow, that is not a problem. This one in the this system here, it is okay. I want to highlight one point from this slide. Back, please, back. We have observed, we have plotted this along with the rainfall. Wherever that zero tillage, reduced tillage is there, crop residue retention, that is the conservation agriculture is there. Wherever actually normal, if we compare with the normal rainfall years and deficit rainfall years, during the deficit rainfall years, we have got the rate of increase in the yield with the conservation agriculture as compared to conventional tillage is higher. That is the advantage actually. This is actually the conspicuous results we have got. Advantage of this conservation agriculture with reduced or the minimum tillage during the deficit rainfall years as compared to the irrigated normal years. Normal years moisture conservation moisture is sufficient, and there we have got there also significant differences there. But the difference if we compare with the CT and the CA, that is less. But during the deficit years, the difference in the yields were higher. Actually, that is the advantage of having the conservation agriculture, particularly wherever the deficit or the drought years are there. So this is the point actually I wanted to highlight. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Along with this yield, we have also studied very detailed studies have been conducted. Many papers also published by Dr. K.L. Sharma, even myself, the Pratibha and other scientists from CREDA. All we soil carbon pools and organ carbon, soil quality index, greenhouse gas emissions from different treatments, conventional as well as the conservation agriculture treatments, all soil physical parameters, importantly the soil moisture content, aggregate stability, aggregates that both water soluble aggregates, water non-soluble aggregates, even carbon in aggregates, that also has been done, and available nutrients, nutrient cycling, even soil biological parameters in thorough. Actually, we have conducted all these studies in these 7, 8 experiments which we are arriving at CREDA. Next. If some of the results I will show. This is a soil quality index. If you say, this is actually I want to highlight here. This experiment, particularly this sorghum cowpea experiment, is conducted under minimum tillage with the retention of the residue of the 100% residue of the cowpea and 50% residue of the sorghum. But what is happening? Sorghum is applied in the actually the graded rates of the what we call graded rates. That is the control no residue under minimum tillage. And in second treatment, 2 ton per hectare sorghum residue under minimum tillage. That is the 4 ton residue under minimum tillage, and 6 ton residue under minimum tillage. And in this case, sorghum cowpea in all the treatments, entire, of course, not in control, all other 3 treatments, that entire cowpea residues was retained. Here actually very conspicuous we have got results. All results, that yield or the soil quality index or relative soil quality index, soil biological parameters and other properties of soil, they reduced with increasing the residue quantity application. Actually, that is very, very important. Under minimum tillage, under rain-fed condition, the quantity of the residue that retained play a very, very important role. Because this I told in my first 2, 3 slides also. Just for highlighting this point, I am showing this slide. So with the increase in the rate of application of the residue or the retention of the residue, we have got all higher, better yields and the soil quality index and all other soil properties. So soil, along with our reduced tillage, the amount of the residue retained on the soil plays very, very important under dryland condition or the rain-fed agriculture. The next slide, please. Next. Of course, also same results. This is the soil organic carbon stock up to, and also this soil carbon sequestration and carbon sequestration rate per hectare, ton per hectare per year. All these were better, and they increased with increasing the residue retention. Next, please. This is a just relationship. No need to explain. You can go through our slides afterwards. Also, there is no problem. Next, please. Like this, I have given all the parameters. Actually, next 6, 7 slides, they are there on different biological, chemical, as well as the nutrient parameters. This even you can discuss this. For example, carbon. This is the aggregate analysis. Enzymes in the aggregate analysis also we did, and all of the results. No need to repeat whatever I told. We have observed in this. Next slide, please. Next slide. This is also soil organic carbon content at different depths. Next, please. This is on residue micronutrients. This is up to 0 to 60 centimeter profile depth we did after the 12 years, and the results are same. No need to tell. All of you students also, you can share these slides with anybody. There is no problem. They can go through the slides. Next, advantage is there, conservation agriculture. Next, this is the similarly graded levels of residue application, soil total nitrogen, total phosphorus, total potassium, to 0 to 60 centimeters. This also after 12 years of application. This published also. Many papers are there in Communication Science and Plant Analysis journal. Next, please. Next, this is the micronutrients again. And the influence of soil moisture. Of course, I already highlighted this. Moisture plays an important role. Next. This also we did. Even important thing is that temperature also we did. Temperature in the morning at the 9 a.m. and the temperature at the 2 p.m. Wherever this reduced tillage or minimum tillage is there, with the residue retention, they are having the less temperature that decreased by 0.3 to 1 degree centigrade, and at 2 p.m. by 0.3 to 2.5 degrees centigrade. This is very, very important. Actually, very few experiments this type of the data is available. That's why I'm showing this data. Next. Even soil moisture, this graded level residue applicant soil moisture content also very systematic data is available at different stages of the crop growth. That is across the standard agrometeorological weeks. This data is available, but here you can see everywhere that conservation agricultural treatments are playing very, very important role. Next, but these are under our thing. Even penetration, difficult physical parameters to do, but in our experiments we did in-depth studies, because very few studies are available with physical parameters. This is we did that infiltration rate. Next, Even compaction studies also we conducted. Next, this is a next one more is there. Yeah, even compaction studies also we have conducted. Application of the sorghum residue at the 6 ton per hectare along with the minimum tillage that lowered the soil compaction from 0.3 to 0.002 MPa at 21 days, as well 0.4 to 412 to 0.13 MPa at harvestage. So this also advantage of our conservation agriculture. Next, these are same N fractions, all the similar type of the results we have observed in case of the nitrogen fractions under sorghum copy system. Next. Earthworm activators also we did. You can see the results, and that one T2, T3, T4. This with into increasing the residue retention, all these the earthworm activity also increased. At both the sowing at different stage of the crop growth. Next, please. This is also similar mineral and ammonical nitrate and ammonical nitrogen fractions in soil. Next, these biological indicators. Next, that labile carbon or the microbial carbon like that. Actually, with that, actually, one important thing is that if we want to success of the conservation agriculture in rain-fed areas, one is I already told the major problem is the this farm mechanization. We should have the farm implement. In most of our dryland agriculture, particularly CREDA and other centers, we have developed our own zero-till or reduced-till planters along with the herbicide application. Next is important is the residue retention. Amount of the residue available, that is the major problem. For that, already I told that if we go along with our minimum or reduced tillage with the residue retention, if we go along with the conservation management practice, which we can, but the disturbance of the soil should be less than the 30%, which is the as described by the as prescribed by internationally, that we should follow. But if we have a conservation furrow or the anything, that is helping in production of the more and more biomass. So which we can otherwise help towards the success of the CA in dryland areas. Of course, weed management, it is a problem in case of the irrigated agriculture also, in case of the this rain-fed agriculture also. But for that also we chemical herbicides we have used along with at the time of the planting itself. And one in red soil area, this typical problem we face is the termite attack. And I will show one slide is there I will describe. Of course, nutrient management, wherever actually in the initial stages of the conservation agriculture experiments, this application of the higher rate of the nitrogen that was produced the better results, that all of you know. But after 4 or 5 years, that stabilizes. At that time, the recommended rate of nitrogen application along with the reduced tillage and retention of the residue, that is sufficient. This point actually I want to mention in red soil area, particularly maize, for that matter any crop. If we leave generally kharif crop, we harvest in the month of the mid-October. So we are retaining the residue on the surface. But by the month of May, before sowing, we will found the residue almost zero because of this termite problem. And termite infestation increases with the reduction of the moisture in the plant. Means in the initial stages, some moisture will be there, at that attack will be there. But as soon as they get dried, and termite attack will be there. For this also, actually, we have conducted experiments, and this conservation agriculture practice, we are giving as the package at CREDA that contains the better farm machine and better weed management, better nutrient management, as well as the soil moisture, this conservation agriculture practice, along with this termite management. Termite, what we did is this immediately after harvest of the crop in the month of October, on the residue we should, if we spray this cow dung, that reduces the infestation of the actually this termites. Generally, what happens, the termites are more attractive towards the dung as compared to the residue. If there is any dung is there, the termites, they prefer to attack the eat this dung. So most of the residues actually they will be retained on the soil surface by the month of May or the June, by the month of the sowing. Actually, that we found, and this also we have included in our this package of practice of the conservation agriculture. This is very, very important. If dung is not available, we found that immediately after harvesting of the kharif crop, retention of the residue on the surface, better to spray chloropyrifos on the residue. So that there also what we found with the spraying of the chloropyrifos, like our pesticide when we that we use like that, if we spray that, the termite attack will be less. This is the disadvantage actually. Termite attack will be a major problem as compared to all other problems what I were told. So this control of the termite infiltration also important, and this also we have included as one of the component of our package of practices. The summary, next slide. Summaries already I told very clearly. This in dryland areas, RT or MT means up to certain level, but the success is with the reduced tillage, minimum tillage, not the zero tillage. That is the thing. And the recent the sufficient quantity of crop residue retention is very, very important. That 6 tons, 4 to 6 tons at least should be there. For that production, higher production, we need a conservation agriculture, conservation soil moisture conservation practice along with our this conservation agriculture, the 3 principles. So if we follow this, we will get success of the results of conservation agriculture in rainfed agriculture. Of course, this future research, all of you know, this if we, I do not know how many of visited this IRI, the genetics division. They are actually breeding different crops like the wheat, rice for conservation agriculture, because they from the starting of the development of the variety, they are conducting under the conservation agriculture, because crop variety, if we have a specialized varieties for the conservation agriculture, they may respond more as compared to the already existing crop varieties, because it is better to develop even breeding also. While conducting breeding experiments, whatever time they take, 5 years, 6 years or 10 years, if we compare while developing breeding, if they follow from the beginning under conservation agriculture, means that type of the varieties will develop, will be respond well. Actually, that type of the experiments are going on at IRI. Recently also we have visited that some of the experiments breeding program they are conducting under conservation agriculture. Actually, that is that type of the work should be done at all institutes also. And of course, this developed CA practice, we should give it as a package, not as the individual. And most of the under rainfed agriculture and Dryland, only few experiments were conducted on farmer fields. And this we have to evaluate whatever that we have developed so far on the farmer fields, and we have to take the upscaling. If there is any possibility, we have to modify. But conservation agriculture as a practice, as a package, we have to evaluate 4 or 5 components, whatever I have told. We should, everything we should give as a package to the farmer. And interdisciplinary research, of course, that is required. Crop variety development, already I told. This customizing centers, actually this it is very costly, 70 to 80,000 is there, that zero till planter or reduced till planter along with the herbicide applicators. Our customizing center, all of you know, in Tamil Nadu also it is very, very popular. We should promote. And capacity building also required. This no need to tell. Next.